Hallo Leute, you have just tuned into Deutsch Flicks where grammar isn't scary and every video is a cheat code to fluent German.
Hold on a second. Just give me a moment.
So today we are diving into something you'll use in every German conversation, Modalverben, also called modal verbs. So Modalverben are auxiliary or helping verbs and they modify the meaning of the main verb in a sentence. So we use them to express possibility or ability. We use them to express desires or obligation. Even for asking permissions or giving permissions, we use Modalverben. Also, if you want to give someone piece of advice or suggestion, then again we use Modalverben. Now I'll give you one example of each possibility or ability, like I can play guitar or I am able to swim. For desires, I want a cup of coffee. Obligation, you must learn German every day. Suggestion, you should drink a lot of water. Permission, you may go now. So these all are nothing but the Modalverben, modal verbs in English we use. Now what we'll do is we'll look at all of the modal verbs one by one and we will discuss their conjugation. Sind Sie bereit? Are you ready? Los geht's. So first up we have können, which means can or be able to. We'll use this modal verb to express abilities or possibilities. Now let's look at its conjugation. Before that, let's write all the personal pronouns in sequence. Ich, du, er, sie, es, wir, ihr, sie, sie. Okay. Now the way we conjugate können according to ich is something you have to learn by heart because all the modal verbs are irregular verbs. So according to ich, we say kann. Ich kann. Now you know with do we add st. So we'll say kannst. With as, we add t at the end, right? But here we will not add t at the end. So conjugation with ich and as for all the modal verbs will be same. This is one of the golden rules, that the conjugation with ich and as for all the modal verbs will be same. With wir, okay, wir and zizi are always sorted. So what we'll do, we'll just copy paste this können. Können. And with ihr, we'll take the root kyon and end it with t. Kjönt. Ich kann, du kannst, es kann, wir können, ihr könnt, sie können. Then we have müssen. You can guess the meaning. Müssen, which means must or have to. So for necessities or obligations, we'll use müssen. Let's also take wollen. which we use to express desire. So wollen means to want. Now what I'll do is I'll give you the conjugation of müssen and wollen according to ish. So with ish we say muss, muss, pay attention to the pronunciation, muss and not muss. Now for wollen, interestingly it conjugates to will. So German will and English will, they are false friends. English will we use to talk about future, but German will we use for our wants and desires. So when you say ich will in German, it means I want. Now just look at the conjugation of können according to all the pronouns and try to write down the conjugation of müssen and wollen. Pause this video and then I'll show you the conjugation. Let's discuss the conjugation. With do, we have to add st. If you have written triple s in the spelling, this is wrong. Why? When we discussed the conjugation, we saw, okay, if any root is ending in s, set or set, we have to drop s while conjugating with do. Also, it doesn't make sense to have triple s in the spelling. So what we'll do is we'll add unnecessary s from here and we'll simply say most. Now with ASES, it will be mos. Why? Because conjugation with ish and ASES has to be same. With wir, okay, wir and ZZ are always sorted. We just copy paste the infinitive verb. So müssen, müssen. And with ihr, we take the root which will be now muss and then end it with t. So remember, this is called muss and this is müsst. Ich muss, du musst, es muss, wir müssen, ihr müsst, sie müssen. Now for wollen, ich will, with do we will add st, so it becomes du willst. Es will, wir and ZZ, it will be wollen. With ihr, we take the root woll and end it with t. Don't think we are done with Modalverben. We have a couple of Modalverben left. So now we have sollen, which means should or be supposed to. We'll use sollen for piece of advice or suggestion. Then we have dürfen, which we'll use for asking or giving permission. It means may or be allowed to. Then we have mögen, which means to like. And at last, the verb möchten, which means would like. So you go to restaurant or any fruit vendor, you will hear this verb a lot. So officially there are 6 Modalverben, 6 modal verbs. Möchten is not a modal verb, but it behaves like one. So hence I have written möchten here. Now what is möchten, that you'll get to understand in A2 and B1 level. I'll write all the personal pronouns in sequence. I'll conjugate these modal verbs according to ish, and then you have to write the conjugation with other pronouns. So for sollen, we say ich soll, dürfen, ich darf, mögen, ich mag, and möchten, ich möchte. Pause the video and write down the remaining conjugation. Okay, now I'll write the conjugation. So these are the answers. Pronunciation check. Ich soll, du sollst, sie es soll. Wir sollen, ihr sollt, sie sollen. Ich darf, du darfst, sie es darf. Wir dürfen, ihr dürft, sie dürfen. Ich mag, du magst, sie es mag. Wir mögen, ihr mögt, sie mögen. Ich möchte, du möchtest, sie es möchte. Wir möchten, ihr möchtet, sie möchten. So trust me, if you just memorize the conjugation of all the Modalverben according to ish, you are done. You're sorted for the remaining pronouns. I think we are good to go to discuss the sentence structure if a modal verb and a main verb comes in a sentence. Okay, so I have a question. If we have a modal verb and a main verb in a sentence, which one will you conjugate? Or is it like you will conjugate both of them? Think about it. The answer is will conjugate only the modal verb, because these are helping or auxiliary verbs, and we use the main verb as it is without conjugation. In English, we do the same. For example, I want to learn Spanish. So to learn is the main verb, and I'm conjugating to want according to I. I want to learn German. So now let's write this golden rule, goldene Regel. So the golden rule is that we conjugate only the modal verb. What will happen to the main verb? We will not conjugate it, but if we talk about its position, we will throw our main verb at the end of the sentence. Okay, what is infinitive form? It means base form of the verb, untouched, without any conjugation. So that is what makes German language peculiar, that we have to throw the main verb at the end of the sentence. So in German, you say something like, I want to Spanish learn, or I can for 2 hours swim. So what I'm doing is I'm throwing the main verb at the end. Okay, so we have discussed the position of the infinitive verb, but what about the modal verb? What is its position? Now see, I'm writing two positions. It could be either second or first. Why are we having two positions for modal verb? Think about it. At the end of the day, modal verb is a helping verb, any normal verb, right? Now, if you take any verb in German, it takes two positions, second or first, depending on the type of sentence. So if it is W-Frage, W question, or Aussagesatz, statement sentence or full stop sentence. we will use the second position. Now for yes no question, ja nein Frage, we will use first question, and this thing is very similar to our English grammar. If you don't know this concept, you can watch my lesson on this types of sentences. So take a look at the conjugation and the rules we have just discussed, and you have to translate this English sentence. Okay, let's do the translation step by step. So this is must, so I have to use the verb müssen. Then this is the main verb, which is called lernen. Every day we say jeden Tag. Jeden Tag. So now we have everything. It says that we have to recall our rules, conjugate the verbs properly. Okay, so for you, let's take do. And we conjugate only the modal verb according to do. So müssen according to do becomes du musst. Now what do we do with lernen? We will throw it at the end of the sentence. So let's write lernen here. Now what is left? German and everyday. I'll write everyday here, which is called jeden Tag. And then comes German, which is called Deutsch. Du musst jeden Tag Deutsch lernen. You must learn German every day. Okay, it's not like you cannot use Deutsch before jeden Tag, because if you're using Deutsch before jeden Tag, you are emphasizing more on Deutsch. Du musst Deutsch jeden Tag lernen. Now you're saying you must learn German every day. But I want to emphasize on this part, jeden Tag. You have to learn German every day. Jeden Tag. Also for Germans, Zeit ist Geld, time is money. So what they do is they keep the time related things, time related adverbs as close as possible to the verb, like daily, day after tomorrow, at 2, in the evening, in the morning, etc. So these all are nothing but time adverbs. Okay, so pause the video and translate these sentences. Obviously for individual words you can use the dictionary, but don't use Google Translator to translate the entire sentence. We'll discuss this entire exercise after 5 seconds. Okay, Nummer 1, he has to do the homework. So we have has to, which is called müssen. And the main verb is machen. So it will mean muss. I'll throw machen at the end. Now what is left? The homework, which is called die Hausaufgabe. Muss die Hausaufgabe machen. If you have written Hausaufgaben, that is also fine. Then we have I want to learn C++. So the modal verb is wollen. And the main verb is lernen. So we'll say ich will. Remember, ich will doesn't mean I will. It means I want. Ich will C++ lernen. Then she can play guitar. So we are using the modal verb können. And the main verb play is called spielen. So we'll say sie kann Gitarre spielen. For we must go now, modal verb müssen. main verb gehen. Now is called jetzt. So we'll say wir müssen jetzt gehen. Then they would like a tea. So would like is the modal verb, which is called möchten, and we'll say sie möchten ein Tee. Okay, I skipped here einen Fehler. There's one mistake in this sentence. Think about it. So you cannot forget the old rules. We saw the case system in German language, nominative and accusative. So möchten is being conjugated according to sie, which is the subject of the sentence, and subject is in nominative case. Nominative has played its role. We cannot have multiple subjects in the sentence. That means Tee is the object. If this is the object has to take accusative case, accusative. That means in accusative case, der changes to den, so our ein will be changed to einen. Sie möchten einen Tee is the correct answer. If you don't know nominative, accusative, you can watch my lesson on it. Then we have I like traveling. So ich, and here we have to use the verb mögen. I'll conjugate it according to ich. Ich mag. Now traveling, to travel, this verb is called reisen. You can say reisen. Ich mag reisen. Okay, so if someone is asking you for your hobbies, right? Was machen Sie gerne? What do you gladly do? Now you can use the modal verb mögen. And you can say, ich mag reisen, ich mag Gitarre spielen, ich mag C++ lernen, ich mag Deutsch lernen, etc. und so weiter. If you got any doubt, you can let me know in the comment section. And there's one more exercise which you have to solve. Ergänzen Sie die Lücken. You have to fill in the blanks with the correct modal verb. There are only 6 questions and we'll discuss this exercise in 5 seconds. Okay, Nummer 1, ihr Lücke morgen ins Kino gehen. So ins Kino gehen means going to cinema. So we'll say, you want to go to cinema tomorrow. Ihr wollt. Nummer 2, man Lücke im Unterricht nicht essen. Nicht essen means man Lücke im Unterricht nicht essen. Unterricht means class. Nicht essen means do not eat. So you're not allowed to eat in the class. So for permission we use dürfen. We'll say man darf im Unterricht nicht essen. So that's how we conjugate the verb. We give as conjugation according to man. So this man, interesting thing is, this is also pronoun, but this is indefinite noun. So it translates to one or you. For generalization we use this. For example, you're not allowed to park here, or one is not allowed to park here. Now the German equivalent is man, and we give third person singular conjugation, basically as conjugation. Now Nummer 3, Lücke du mir helfen. So helfen means to help, mir, me. So it will be, can you help me? So we'll conjugate the verb können according to do. Kannst du mir helfen? Can you help me? Now Nummer 4, wir Lücke keine Schokolade. Keine Schokolade means no chocolate. We do not like chocolate. Wir mögen. Wir mögen keine Schokolade. We do not like chocolate. Nummer 5. Sie Lücke viel Wasser trinken. It appears to be an advice, suggestion. For that we use the verb sollen. I'm considering that this Sie is you formal, so I'll say Sie sollen. You should drink a lot of water. But if you've written soll, I'm in the third person singular conjugation. If you've imagined that this Sie is she, that is also fine. Nummer 6. Ich lücke eine Tasse Kaffee. So again, for desires, this is desire. So you will use the verb wollen. Ich will eine Tasse Tee. I want a cup of tea. Now see, whenever we try to solve any exercise related to Modalverben, there's high possibility that one question has multiple answers. For example, here, if you've allocated wollen, that is also fine with me, because now you're saying we do not want chocolate. And for the 6th one, for example, if you have allocated möchte, that works, because now you're just trying to be polite. You're saying ich möchte eine Tasse Kaffee. I would like a cup of tea. That's how you're being more polite. Will, as in to want, is something strong. It is stronger than möchten. So if you have any question, you can just ask me in the comment section.
Like and subscribe.